Hello, let me tell you how I manifested my ideal partner. So it's a story that has many periods because it started more than 6 years ago. Actually, way more because I did not know what I was doing for most of my life. And one of the main topics that I was very, very interested in was to have a good relationship with my partner. And many years ago, I had a relationship and it was not good in the easiest way to tell it. So, what I did was I tried to figure it out. I tried to change it. I did all sorts of things. And in the end, that relationship clashed badly. And it taught me a lot. It really did. It was borderline abusive, and I left it like cutting a cord. So, it gave me such a trauma that I needed to heal it basically as long as I had had it. So the relationship I had was for almost 7 years, and I healed for almost 7 years. But not to get all darker and everything, I'm just trying to show you why maybe manifestation can work super quick for one, but it may take time for others. For me, it took time because I needed that time to heal. So I started to manifest knowingly about 6 years and, more months ago. And for me, it came as a knowledge from spirituality that you could try to attract what you want because you are kind of creating your reality. I was really starting to understand these topics. I was starting to research them, starting to feel them in myself. Already was doing lots of spiritual practices like meditation and self-inquiry, mindfulness, and I felt like maybe I could change my life in some way, and I knew that I really wanted to attract a good relationship. That was really what I longed for, and it makes sense because my parents didn't have one. So also their relationship took a very long time for me to be healed within me. So, yeah, lots of trial, lots of doing, lots of relationships in between, which is okay, in my opinion. I have really understood and forgiven and also loved myself for all that I have been through and all that I gave myself as a chance to learn to come here. So, I'm truly grateful that all of it happened because I couldn't be here without it. And here is where I am almost 3 years together with my ideal partner. And it's very easy to say that somebody's ideal for me, but that's exactly what I was manifesting before I met him. And that's exactly how I feel now that we're together. And I feel like it all the time. I really do feel that sensation that I was manifesting in our relationship. You might be like, oh, but maybe there are these or those moments. Yes, of course there are challenges. Yeah, like every relationship that we have out there will have challenges, so that's okay. But we don't go into repeating our traumas on one another. We rather try to see them as lessons that we work through in ourselves and in the relationship. So together, when we are together, we get to feel amazing. And that's exactly what I wanted to share because I know that many of you out there might not believe in it. I didn't at some point. And I was very confused. How is it possible that so many others have it? And I don't. It's like it's out there, but I cannot grab it. What was that thing that others could just manifest love? And although I was quite okay in many ways, I just couldn't find somebody that I could work with in a way that I wanted to feel. So what happened is that since I started the journey of manifesting, the conscious one, I actually manifested things that my brain wanted, that my ego wanted, that my mind wanted. And amongst those things were also the mind's ideal partner. which made me realize fully that it's not what I want. So a lot of path of this understanding of manifestation wasn't just about, oh, I want this, and then, getting it. So it was more about, first of all, healing, because I came from many traumatic experiences. So I had to heal. So I had to be there for myself first. So I made sure that I was doing all sorts of practices. I was already creating a life for myself that made me feel safe, that made me feel good. So that was the first part of it. And also, I did have relationships in that time, and they all gave me something in that path of healing. Second, I was also learning how to actually communicate healthily in a relationship, because that was one of the things that I had not been taught in my parents' relationship, and also I didn't have it in my relationships. So I kept on making mistakes, and I kept on realizing that, hey, that's actually not what I want. That's not the communication style, and I needed to change it. So one of the biggest things that I changed was that I started to listen. I had a period where for weeks, if not months, my focus was on listening to others. And I also started to, after that, to listen to myself. And it gave me such profound understanding of how different things may have been in many occasions, because that opened up a deep understanding, empathy within me, and a completely new level of relationships. So there was way more connection, way more sharing, and way less drama, way less fighting, way less confusion, way less arguing, because I could start to come from a place that was actually open to understand what is really happening, and then taking care of that within myself, and also understanding that everyone else has the same issues in that sense. Like, we all are working through something at the moment, at the given moment. So that empathy led me to not take things so personally. And that was a huge game changer. So communication, super important. Maybe you have some parts in communication that need to be changed. Maybe it's not listening. Maybe it's something else. Maybe you need to speak up more. Maybe you need to take time with yourself to understand what you want more. All of those are super important. And also, I was learning, of course, how to express it, how to communicate it nicer and better. So I'm sure you can find all sorts of resources out there that can help you on that. And I also realized that I started to choose words more carefully. And in that sense, I just improved my relationship also with my family and my parents, and all my friends and everyone. So it was a bonus no matter what I was going to. So that was beautiful. If I look further, the creation of the safe space, the third part, I would say, was super important, not just for the healing, but also to start to open up to understand what I actually want. To create an environment where I can be completely as I want to be as a woman. As I like to be a very feminine woman, but I also have very wild parts in me, like raw feminine. So I had to find a way to be able to express sexually the way I wanted. And I took periods of time where I just spent time with myself in trying to understand what I like and what I don't like, both sexually but also sensually, and just in dancing and understanding what sort of, attention I want from others, because we do want different things. And this was a path of understanding what my body likes, and also what I like what my emotions want to experience, what my mind likes and wants to do. For example, maybe your mind likes to have a date once in a week. I had a period where I tried it and it was amazing. I liked it a lot. So trying out these things is a beautiful way of discovering what you like and what you don't, what is for you and what isn't. So that actually leads to the fourth part, which is boundaries. One of my favorite words when it comes to relationships. So often boundaries is a word that is known, but not often we actually know our boundaries. We haven't maybe written them down. So I did these actual workshops where I had to write down my boundaries. And it took a very long time to understand all of them. And by the way, they change over time. Like I have slightly different boundaries now than I did back then. And it's okay to change it up. So going into these boundaries and also respecting them, being true to it and saying no when I want to and saying yes when I really want to. So these sort of things really led me forward into just being more of myself. And also in that way, creating an environment around me where I feel safe to be me and express myself more and more authentically. And thus also becoming something that could attract somebody that would be interested in something that I actually am. So that was a beautiful part of it all. It also was throughout many years. Many of these things actually happened simultaneously. And yeah, in the healing part, the first part, I also did a lot of work on forgiveness and going through my past, going to all sorts of therapies, also healing my ancestral wounds, meaning like doing Hellinger therapy and understanding what things I'm just passing on from my parents' relationship, but what I'm also taking from my grandparents and others. And creating something that I actually would want, because I hadn't really fully seen what I wanted, or maybe I saw some glimpses of it. So I started to look for relationships that seemed healthy for me. And I started to understand what seems okay for me. Looking at others' relationships, I learned a lot. That was so long to do. It took a lot of years, a lot of trials, a lot of boyfriends in my case. And as I mentioned, I actually at one point manifested what my mind thought I wanted. So that was actually after creating a lot of the boundaries list and this and that. So I had an image in my head how it should look like. And I ended up meeting a person like that. It was very passionate, very strong, very fast, actually. But something wasn't there, and I couldn't get it. I couldn't wrap my head around it. Like, what wasn't there? Like, so much of what I had wanted and put on paper and, did mood boards and visualizations and this and that. And like, it came true. Why wasn't I into it? So a big part of it was because I had created it from my mind only. I had not fully understood how I wanted to feel. And after that, I actually changed it. I started to understand how I wanted to feel. And then I started to feel it more and more. Did all sorts of practices for it, which I teach in my Manifest one-on-one approach that I guide people in for 3 months. We do it privately because each person's story, each person's things to get rid of, the things to heal are very different. You need to have the best practices for it to go with it faster. As I said, for me, it took 6+ years consciously. And even then, I made mistakes again and again and again. I can call them mistakes now, but they were amazing lessons at the time. But it took a long time. I had periods of such frustration. I had found Abraham Hicks. I tried to do all the law of universe and attraction and manifestation and this and that, but I thought constantly about it. And instead of actually becoming it, becoming what I wanted. And when I, eased back, I had manifested the whatever, so I knew it can happen. But I had to understand what I actually wanted in the feeling. And then I did that. And I got rid of the last bits that I needed to get rid of. And within only 4 months, I met my ideal partner. And it was beautiful. I didn't feel that he was the one at the beginning, because that was a routine of mine to say that somebody's the one. So I actually was finally suspicious. And from there, we started to create this relationship, and it was something different for me. And how to say, the outside things also influenced us to decide quite fast if we wanted this or not. And we became a couple after about 3-4 months of dating. And from there, it just, it went quite strongly on, because we were separated for 3+ months in different countries where we couldn't visit one another at all. So then we really made sure that we actually wanted this. And then we basically started to live together after it. It wasn't fully planned, but it's how things happened. And I can't say that the first time when I started to feel like, oh, this is what I was manifesting, was when we got together after those 4 months, when we became a couple, and I finally felt that feeling that I had been making for myself, the manifestation come true. And as I mentioned, I still feel it. And that's the beauty of it, that if you manifest from a complete energetic level, you can experience what you have been truly wishing for. Not just your mind, not just the idea of society, not just this or that, but actually you, like deep within you yourself. And as I believe in souls, I'm very sure that we have a very strong connection. And I actually have interesting ideas and perception about how twin flames and other things work. If you're interested to know that, you can ask me. Because I don't think I am together with my twin flame. And yet, I find him my ideal partner. Shall I do a video about it? Probably sometime, yeah? Let me know in the comments or somewhere else. But yeah, going through all of these periods, it helped me to come here. And the last point, the fifth point, I would say, was taking responsibility back to me. And that also happened before I met my partner, those 4 months before we actually met in real life. I realized, yes, I can manifest. Yes, I can do it. Let me create the feeling that I want, and let me just, enjoy it. And I did. That's when I met him. I just felt like enjoying my life. I had a nice, fulfilling moment. When I met him, we were at a nice dance festival in Portugal, in Lisbon. And, I just felt at ease. I felt playful. I was open to receive, finally. I wasn't thinking, oh, am I going to meet somebody? Oh, my God. I had worked through the fear of not meeting someone. And I was viewing whatever was happening with like a childlike curiosity. I was excited to do things. I was interested in life. I wanted to go and explore and have fun because I just felt good. And that's the sort of a moment where we are able to receive more. When we are in a lot of these, scarcity type of mindset where we're fearing, where we're just redoing the traumas and beliefs and this and that, we have a hard time to become something else. So we do become something else by knowingly changing it, changing the past, so that we actually here become something that allows things to come in. And that's basically what I do in my Manifest one-on-one sessions. I help you to go to this moment of, ease of receiving. And I do understand that maybe just me telling the story won't immediately make you understand how the whole manifestation works. It can be quite complex. It can be also very easy. But I feel like, because I have done this manifestation again and again, this is not the only thing that I have consciously manifested. I have also manifested my dream life. I have also manifested the house that I live in, dream life being my lifestyle. Also incomes, living abroad, traveling with these, like all sorts of things that, can happen. And I continue to manifest consciously. So I feel like by now I have understood how the process works. And I have understood how this path, how this journey works when you're trying to go up to the hill where the manifestation is. Like, I know how the path goes, and I understand how to guide you back on that specific path, which is the fastest way to it. But we tend to go very weirdly to the path. Instead of going up to it, we tend to go around and take our time in weird ways. So maybe we step above, then we get stuck. And this is kind of how I was growing. It took a long time, especially for the partner manifestation. The manifestations after it, I kind of started to get the process differently. But I also want to, in how to say, accentuate that it is different for different people. Like, maybe in the relationship context, you grew up in a happy household. Maybe there you will have less issues to work through and you can get what you want faster. That's why it took me so long, because I really had to go through a lot. And for some, my 6 years and 4 months is not going to be long. Some might not even get there in their lifetime, but it's because they're going around in this one spot on almost in a circle. And you sometimes need a different opinion to go to where you want to be. And I'm super grateful actually to tarot cards, because they were the ones that helped me to get there. I did the Fool's Journey, and going through that experience, I was going through a lot of the life's lessons that led me to understand so much more of where I was holding myself back, because my intention in the Fool's Journey was to manifest my partner. And I finished that journey when we were already together. And then I realized the biggest lesson of it all. I was actually trying to manifest the ideal relationship within me. And that's the one that we actually strive for the most. We want to be the ideal person for ourselves, because then we get to be truly authentic. We get to be fulfilling whatever we are in full honesty, and be the ones who are cheerleading ourselves, being the ones who are going to what we want. And in that way, more people like that will be around us, cheerleading and letting us be more and more authentic. And that's kind of what I received, because I created myself into this ideal me. And that's why I could meet someone who was as ideal for me as I am for myself. And now the last lesson, the sixth one, because I got to that point where I created the ideal me in myself, I just basically uncovered her. Like, she was there already. Like, I just had to get rid of all sorts of things. And that the best relationship that I have manifested is that, because no matter if I have this or that partner, as long as I have it in me like that, I'll feel good. So for me, my beautiful partnership with my beautiful partner, Dan, is a bonus. It's a beautiful gift, but it's not a must. So I don't feel fear. I don't feel anger. I don't feel anxious. I know that whatever happens, because things can happen, he might not be here tomorrow. Maybe we will choose to break up. Maybe one of us will, maybe both. Maybe one of us has to go through the soul level and the body is, dead. All sorts of things can happen in a blink of a second. So I know that as long as I have this core, this understanding that I have the ideal relationship with myself, I know that I can attract it once more. So I don't think there's only one person for you. I think there are many. As souls are many, so people are also many. So I think we have a lot of options. think about that and let me know how you feel about this topic. In my opinions, of course, these are opinions. But I'm very curious to know your manifestation stories in case you want to, share them. You can do it so below. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you like my sort of content or you want to see something more specific. I know this was more about manifestation than maybe tarot cards, but I'll continue to do all sorts of things because I do both tarot card mysteries and also spirituality. So I'll see you in the next time. And for now, tarot and mysteries, everything for your blissful growth.